Welcome to Fly on the Wall podcast. I'm your host, Chris Sonkson, CEO and founder of Church Boom. Here you get to sit in on a live coaching session as I coach pastors through the ministry challenges we all face. If you find this podcast helpful, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast today. We're talking with my buddy Jonathan, and we are talking about two really amazing things. We're talking about preparing for the future as a pastor. It's really practical. I think you're going to love that. And also talking about ministry hurts, and we've all been there. So I think you're going to love this conversation today. Before we jump into it, don't forget to check out churchboom.org. We have so many things that you can be a part of. Church Boom University, Church Boom Network. You can become a coach through the coaching certification program. So make sure you check that out at churchboom.org. But let's jump into our conversation today with my buddy Jonathan. What's on your mind, man? How can I help you today?
Well, just for some context, I'm 45 years old, been married 17 years, 3 beautiful young daughters. I've been a licensed minister for 22 years and lead pastoring for 10. And as I've just been looking at this season, when I get to like that 65, the retirement or redefining season, what kind of things should I be focusing on for the next 20 years? Ministry, marriage, and family.
Yeah, I love that. Well, one, I love that you're thinking ahead. And I want to talk, first of all, the first thing that comes to my mind in a real practical sense, Jonathan, and this is really, really practical. A lot of pastors get to the age where they're close to retirement, but they can't afford to retire. And then as a result, they hang on to the church years longer than they should because they can't afford to do something. So I don't know what your financial life is like, none of my business, but the next 20 years, if I were you, I would be focused very strongly on making sure that you're set up for success financially so that you don't have to hang on longer than you want to hang on, or that you should be hanging on. So I think that's such an important part that you do that. As your girls grow up, the ability to be able to move your parenting kind of goes like this. It kind of like, it's this way, and then it's this way. As they get older, it's this way. And sometimes dads have a hard time making that transition, but I think that's such an important thing as a dad in the ministry, and obviously loving on your wife, and loving on your family. But the practical part would be the financial part. The second part I would say to that is, is it retirement for you, or are you looking for a second chapter?
I don't know.
No, and that's a question, we don't have to answer here, but that's a question that you want to ponder, because some guys are like, hey, I just want to retire at 65. I'm done, man. I want to go golf around the world. Then great. But some guys
I think I want it to look different. I think I want it to be something that is a clear, but I don't think I'll ever stop like ministering to people and discipling people. And
sure. Well, here's the way that I put it. If you've ever driven a stick shift and you're in 5th gear, that's the highest gear on a stick shift. As you get older, people that want to stay in the game, I don't think they stay in 5th gear. I think they downshift to 3rd gear, but they're still moving. And that's probably the way you would look at it, is there's a second chapter of your life. And I think that's an important thing for all of us to say, okay, as I get older, do I want to just fully retire? Do I always want to have my hand in the game, whether I need the money or not? It's not a financial thing. So that's important, the financial thing. But the other part is that second chapter. What does that second chapter look like? And I think that's something for you just to pray about and think about. Like, I don't know, man, maybe I would just be an associate pastor. Maybe I'd work for a nonprofit. Maybe I would do coaching on the side. Maybe I would do, like, how am I going to keep my kind of stay in the game, my life in the game, but go from 5th gear to 4th to 3rd. And I do think personally, this is just my own opinion, this whole idea of just retiring, like fully retiring, I'm like, all that wisdom, and then you're done. Like, you gained all that life experience, and then you're not going to help the up and coming 30-year-old that doesn't know what he's doing, and you're trying to help the guy from making a mistake. Like, I think that we all, whether we downshift to 3rd or we downshift to 1st and we're barely moving, but the point is, staying in the game, I think such an important part as it pertains to your family and marriage. A lot of people ask me, hey, Chris, how do you keep it in balance? Because I travel a ton and blah, blah, blah. And how do you keep it all in balance? And I don't, I don't personally think the word that is the right word is balance. I think the right word is obedience. Because balance is like, okay, I need to balance this, I need to balance that. Really, I need to step back and go, am I being obedient to what God says for me as a husband, for me as a dad, for me as my family? Am I being obedient to that? So it's funny to me because I get the balance question a lot. And what I want to fire back most of the time is, well, let's talk about obedience. It's just a matter of, God, I want to serve you and obey you. And this is what you say about marriage. This is what you say about my kids. This is what you say about family, all that. Now, all of a sudden, it's not a balance issue. It's, am I being obedient issue? And when you flip it that way, you can quickly realize when you are out of balance, or another way of saying you're out of obedience. So I think obedience when it comes to your family and just knowing you're doing the right thing. I think looking at a second chapter. I don't say you have to answer that today, but looking at a second chapter. Thirdly, making sure that you are financially ready. And you need to be ready. A lot of guys just, they don't really, it's not on their mind. And you need to make sure that that's on your mind over the next 20 years.
Could you tease out that obedience thing a little bit more? Like if like how do I know I'm walking in obedience with my family?
Yeah. Well, I think there's an obedience in your heart to the time that I'm spending with my wife, the time that I'm spending with my kids, that I'm a priest to my home first.
Fair
You,
point.
you know, you, I think we know.
Yeah.
I think we know, I mean, if we're
Your
really
wife will tell
honest.
you.
Yeah, yeah, well, that definitely the Holy Spirit and my wife are in cahoots together. But you can feel it when it's like, ugh, it's just not good. This is not honoring to God the way that I'm with my wife, the way that I'm with my kids, the way that I'm with my family. I think we know that intuitively, whether we want to admit it or not. I think that's different, but I think we know it intuitively.
Yeah, did your wife ever tell you, man, ministry is ahead of your family, you need to get it in a different gear, or you know what I'm saying?
That's a great question, and I would say I've been very fortunate to not really have those conversations. Maybe
Oh,
somewhere along
cool.
the path. Proud to say I travel a ton now, but my kids are out of the house. When they were in the house, my son played baseball year round from age 5 to all through high school, whatever. And literally hundreds of games. I probably missed 6 out of 300. Like, I would travel and then catch a red eye, get at 5 in the morning, drive 2 hours, be at 8 in the morning and be on the field and not have slept. But I just know when he went up to bat, I needed to be in the stands.
Yeah.
And now, whether I was exhausted and whether I could barely even open my eyes, that didn't matter, that I was there. Neither of them, my kids, I have 2 kids, a son and a daughter. Neither of them ever had said to me or felt like ministry was first.
Gotcha.
And so I fought hard for that. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I just fought hard for that. I think right now at this stage, I can get out of balance because I'm like, hey, the kids aren't here, and my wife's like, but I'm still here, and so that might be something that I definitely want to keep an eye on because I travel so much, but then I bring her along with me. And I think that's an important part as well. But I think intuitively we know, like, it's out of balance. It is.
Yeah, I mean, a few weeks back, I asked you more practical questions, and I just been these first couple are just like heart stuff for me. It's because if it all blows up, like, who cares if I'm building a church, if that makes sense. This other one, I'm just wondering. Okay, so since being a pastor, have you ever experienced mental or spiritual health crisis? And if so, what kind of brought you out of it? And what have you put in place to keep your heart clear and help you stay healthy mentally and spiritually?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's a good thing. I fortunately, I wouldn't say that my mental health per se has been, I don't know if it would be classified as mental health, but I would say there are a couple things that I would say have affected my mental health, if you will, and probably health overall, is when I am long term, taking a long time, I should say, in forgiving someone that hurt me in the ministry.
Wow.
That probably is the single thing that has hurt me and has created, I don't want to say mental health, but it's just created some emotional, possible health, physical health, but emotional, mental, whatever word you want to combine it. That's where I stumble the most. And because I'll help someone in ministry, I'll do everything I can to help them, I'll try to raise them up, and then they turn around and they've hurt me. And that's happened a couple times, one major time, one really major time. And then it's like, man, it takes time to get over it. And I'm trying to forgive and I'm trying to let it go, but it plays on my head. And then I don't want to trust anybody in the future. And I'm leery of this staff member. And what if they leave, or what if they hurt me? And all that stuff starts to play. And so there's a couple thoughts that I know for sure. One, I think it's important to get counseling on a regular basis. Now, what I mean by that is not every week or every other week, but it's like, 3 to 4 months of counseling, then take a year off, 3 to 4 months, even when things are good. I think it's good to see a counselor. Personally, I do. I think it's where you sit and you're just like, here's kind of some things I'm wrestling with. So you're kind of catching it here before it's here. When I've been hurt by people, specifically one individual, I went to counseling for sure because I was very, very hurt by the person. But it created the mental. It created the, I don't trust you. It created the, am I good enough? It created the insecurity. It created the lack of health. So for me, that has been the issue. So in general, no, like burnout and, all that, like I've never experienced a lot of that, but when I get hurt, it seems to go a while. And one thing is that my own coach, I have 2 coaches in my life. I believe everybody should have an executive coach, and I have 2 of them. And my coach asked me this question, I don't know, 2 years ago. I was talking to him about the situation that had happened a few years ago, but 2 years ago I was talking to him about it, and a lot of time had gone by. And he goes, "How you doing with that situation?" I go, getting by, getting through it. And then he asked me a question that was just so amazing. He said, "Are you getting through it or have you overcome it?"
Oh.
He goes, "Getting through it just means you gritted it, you got through it, you survived, you're okay.
Just grinding it out.
You're grinding it out. Overcoming it means you're forgiven and you're moved on. So have you got through it or have you overcome it?" And my honest answer was, I think I got through it. I don't think I've overcome it. Now I think I'm a lot more closer to there now. But I definitely wasn't a couple of years ago when I was asked that question.
Wow.
So I think that's a good question to ask when you're facing something, a pain in ministry.
Yeah.
Did you get through it or did you overcome it?
Man, that's really good. Can I spin off of that real quick?
Spin off as much as you want.
So what about like in ministry, has there been anybody that's ever like hurt your wife and then you're stuck with wearing 2 hats? I'm a pastor and I'm a husband, and how do I?
Yep, that definitely. Well, I'm a husband first. Now, I do think that, I'm a husband first, and sometimes I see guys not take a spiritual leadership role in the family as strong as they should. So I've been in enough pastors' lives. I mean, I've been hundreds, and I've seen this. I've seen where where it's like, man, we got a problem with the person in the church and with my wife, and they're kind of beating up on my wife, but she's kind of and he's like, what do I do? And the problem on a couple occasions, and I'm not saying that's yours, I'm not saying it's anybody's that's listening to this, but sometimes it's, buddy, you've got to sit your wife down because she's wrong. Period. Now, I'm not saying you're choosing sides. This isn't about choosing sides. This is about choosing right and wrong. And I've seen it where I was like, and she's got an attitude. She feels entitled. She can be extremely rude. She can offend the staff really easy. Like I've seen it where I said, buddy, it is not a this person and the wife problem. I don't know what this is, and there's probably a conversation you need to have with that person in the church, but you need to have a conversation with your wife because it's causing problems. So I think you have to, I think as a leader, as the pastor and leader, you got to be honest and say, okay, is this partly my wife and partly that person? And I'm going to address both of them as needed to the situation. I'm not just going to excuse my wife because she's my wife. I'm the spiritual leader of the home. We are not, like for us, the Songsons, many times I've said this to my kids. This is not the way the Songsons act. This is not the way we live. And I've kind of, maybe a time or two where my wife may have not been thrilled about something, and I'll say, hey, that's just not who we are. That's not what we're going to do. And I think people have to be able to say, if their last name is Rodriguez, is like to the wife, like we don't do this, and I know you're having a problem with this person, but here's what you need to own. And then here's what you need to own. So anyway.
Oh man, that's good. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I think you got to be honest with yourself. Like, where's the problem? And if it's 50-50, then deal with it. But don't ignore the wife because she's your wife. Be the spiritual leader, not of the church, but of the home in that situation.
Can I transition into, well, there's just another topic and it relates to how we lead, but I'm just curious. Are you familiar with Carey Nieuwhof?
Oh yeah, very much. Yeah.
I watch him or listen to him ever so often. And, so he recently did a 5-part series on revival, which actually was like, wow, cause, there's a lot going on in our country, and I was just thought he was bold enough to touch on it. And he interviewed some really cool people, even the pastors from Saddleback Church and things. And he's talking about like all the stuff going on with Gen Z and some sovereign moves of God. And so I guess like for me, I was looking at it and I was just wondering, when you're hearing his leadership podcast and he's carving out time to discuss the move of God around the world, my question is, in light of all of this, like if God showed up and did some things in our church that were sovereign, we have this thought we plan like it all depends on us, and then we pray like it all depends on God. How would you prepare for a sovereign move of God in a church service, and how would you lead it?
I honestly don't know if you prepare for it. If it's a sovereign move of God, it usually kind of comes, unexpectedly. So I don't know if you prepare for it. I think the posture of our heart is important. The posture of our heart is, God, you're in control. Now I'm going to plan. I'm going to work. I plan, I don't do a lot of the day-to-day at South Hills, but 12 campuses. And I could tell you in December of 2026 what the messages will be. That's how far out things are.
Right.
But we also posture our heart of, God, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. Like, okay, we're going to roll into this and we're in this series, but if you want to cancel the series, then cancel the series, and we'll do something else. God, we want to be obedient to whatever you say. So I don't know if it's much as preparation, but as posture. Is my heart posture to say, God, do whatever you want. And in the church or in the service or whatever it is, God, do whatever you want to do. So I've never really seen a sovereign move of God that I thought people were prepared for.
All right. That's fair.
But the only preparation is posture,
That's fair.
Because I do think that sometimes people can get pretty rigid in their life. And it's like, well, wait a minute, what if God's saying something different? And so that's why I say preparation. It's like God just decided to do something different, and he didn't warn you. He just did it. But is my heart postured? And if my heart's postured to be like, hey, God, whatever you got, I'm doing that. Really, that is the preparation, is the posture. That's all you can do.
What about, so God does, let's just talk more than just a one-off Sunday, but then all of a sudden there's an influx. Like right now, like we're having new people show up to church because of the cultural moment that we're in. And and what if there was like an influx? How do you prepare for just all of a sudden more people, not just a trickle, but like boom, we've got a lot more people. What do you do then?
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that because, by the way, what kind of dog do you got? Because I can hear him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like, but
Okay, no, don't worry about it. What is it? What kind of dog?
it's a German Shorthair.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love dogs.
It must be a delivery man or something.
That's all right. I'm good. I just wonder what kind of. I got a dog too. I don't even know what he is. He's a mutt. Literally we rescued him from Mexico. He was in Mexico and like in some whatever. He's a mess. He's a little dog. He's about 185 breeds, but he's a little. We call him Archie. But anyway, so
Like an influx. No, like an influx of people.
yeah. So I would say this like I think the sovereign move of God, put that aside for a moment. I think personally, I think we always need to be in preparation when it comes to growth, because I do think that the growth is a lag goal, what's called a lag goal, to the lead goal of preparation being have we raised up leaders? Do we have more than enough volunteers? Do we have a pipeline of volunteers going through? Do we have a system where we're raising up leaders? That's where I think we miss it, because once in a while something happens where all of a sudden there's an influx of people. Well, one, we miss it because we weren't prepared. But let's go even farther. I think the influx of people don't come because the ultimate steward of all of this, God, is like, they can't handle another 100.
They're not prepared.
They're not prepared. One thing I always tell pastors, if you were Lord of the Harvest, would you go to your church? And you know, are you prepared? Or do you feel like, man, if you were the Lord of the Harvest, would you go to the church where it's like, man, they're prepared, they've got leadership in place, they got volunteers? I actually think the rain comes when we dig the ditch. If we don't dig the ditch of leadership, volunteers, raising people up, preparing like we're headed, if you're 200, preparing like you're headed to go to 5. All the churches, almost every church we're executive coaching right now, I'm personally is experiencing insane growth. Most of them have doubled in the last 24 months, from 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000. It's insane growth. But I tell them every time, prepare like you're going for this, and then watch what God does. God always gives the rain when you dig the ditch. But why would he give the rain if you can't collect it? It's like, give us rain, God. Where are you going to hold it at? You haven't dug a ditch. Where are you going to hold all this rain? Okay, God, give us people. How are you going to hold them? You haven't dug the ditch. So those are the things that I think are important for kind of preparing for growth. Sometimes it just pours out, and I think we have to be ready for that. But that doesn't happen every week, and that didn't even happen every year. But on the general sense, I just think we need to be ahead of it.
So you probably only have a couple more minutes left, but if you could just really quick, if you were to tell one of those growing churches, like, here's the 2 or 3 things you need to dig in order to prepare for those people, what would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I would center in first. I would center in on the words of systems and strategy. So let's say there was a third guy on here, Steve, and we say, hey, Steve, so how do you raise up volunteers? What would his answer be? How do you get more volunteers? How many more volunteers do you want in the next 45 days? Do you guys have a clear goal? Let's talk volunteers. Okay, now let's go over to, so first I'd go to volunteers, then I go to leadership, not in any order of importance. Okay, how do I raise up leaders? I'm new to your church. I'm 40 years old. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a great leader. I've done amazing things. I got 200 employees. Where are you going to put me? How are you going to raise me up? How are you going to develop me? How are we raising up the next 2 or 3 children's pastors? So if the main children's pastor quits on us or gets pneumonia, we're okay because we got 2 or 3 behind them. Like, how are we doing that? Let's talk about the giving strategies and systems. What percentage of people are giving X amount? And how are you helping them get stronger? How are we getting our finances stronger? What's the calendar system for that? I call it a generosity calendar. What's your system for that? So for me, when you say, hey, what are some of the things, I would be looking at leadership, building teams, developing leaders, building teams, generosity. And then I would probably dig a little deeper if the guy wanted some more information, say, how do you follow up with first-time guests? How do you follow up with the people who brought the first-time guest? Because that's your best salespeople. Like, and then I start diving into all this other stuff where it's like, that's how you create these systems. And I'm telling you, man, it just goes like that. I mean, I just had a call with someone that we started coaching them maybe March of last year, maybe April, and they were running around 250, 275, been there for a long time. They've gone 2 straight weeks. Well, no, we've gone 2 out of the last 4 weeks. They've busted over 700.
Wow.
They've tripled in 14 or 15 months. But we came in and said, okay, how do you do this? We don't. Okay, fix that. How do you do this? Well, okay, no, fix it. Now do this. So now it's like I could call the guy right now and say, how many volunteers do you want in the next 60 days? He'd tell me exactly the answer. How many leaders do you want? He'd tell me the answer. Who's being apprenticed? Okay, he would tell me the answer. Who's in the leadership pipeline? He would tell me the answer. Like, he knows exactly where it's going. I just don't know if we know all of that. And those are the things that I would be looking at.
And by the way, shameless plug for your Church Boom University. Like, I've watched many of those master classes, leadership ladder, and the church growth calendar. Like, I've been putting my sermon series all in and looking at so thank you for all those resources, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's what Church Boom University is there for. It's everything we talk about here, but now you can just watch it. What's the cool thing is there's small little short 10-minute videos you can watch with your team and then just apply it. You know, I'm amazed that I went to a church, I don't know, 2 months ago, and they were doing a Rescue Sunday. Now, Rescue Sunday, for anybody that's not listening, we raise money, take an offering, raise money, and we help rescue dying churches. So I was there doing a Rescue Sunday, and in between services, the pastor's showing me around the offices and all that, and I walk into the I've never coached this guy. I walk into his staff room, conference room, whatever you want to call it, and I look on the whiteboard. It is filled with nothing but stuff we teach on Church Boom University. I go, this all looks familiar. He goes, dude, we watch it as a staff and then we apply. We watch, we apply.
Oh, man.
And his church has, I mean, literally in the last 2 years have gone from about 500 to 800. And he goes, all we're doing is just applying everything we're learning. And so, yeah, that's what Church Boom University is there for, just to help pastors get the tools necessary to grow. So
thanks for letting me have this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I really value this. I know it's on this is like your podcast and all of that, but just sitting here, I'm like, man, this is like for me right now. So I appreciate it.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, man, we love you, and anything you need, that's what we're here for. Yes. We're all in this together. And so thanks for being on the podcast today, Jonathan. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good day, buddy.
You too.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. What a great conversation it was with Jonathan. I want to remind you to check out churchboom.org. So many things for you to be a part of, so many things that you can do there and that would help you as a leader. So make sure to check out churchboom.org, and we will see you on the next Fly on the Wall podcast.